we are going live. Let's take a look here. Should be going live. Okay, I think we've started. Hi friends, Lindsay here for Swing Design. If you can hear me, go ahead and say hi. Let me know where you're watching from. That's always helpful so I know that this is all set up correctly. I hope that you are having a great day. We are working on a really fun and fast and beautiful home decor project that is perfect for any HTV beginners out there. So if you are new to heat transfer vinyl, if you just got a heat press, or if you just saw on our website that we got more teal StarCraft heat presses in, then this is like the perfect first time project to start with. It's a reverse canvas, and it was actually my first project that I did, and it turned out great. So I am just gonna like dive in there and we'll get started. And of course, if you have any questions along the way, then please let me know. I should have everything linked in the description of what I'm using. So let me go ahead and switch the camera view. So we're just gonna tilt it down. Oops, tilt it down here. Oops, you know, a little craft tour, and then tilt it down. There we go. There's my workspace. All right, and then we'll even it out. There we go. So that should be pretty good. How's everybody's day going so far? Awesome, I hope. Well, okay, so here is a regular stretched canvas from the craft store. You can get them in lots of different sizes and a lot of different fabrics apparently. So usually the ones that I have purchased before look like this. They've been this white and then obviously not painted on the back. But I found this linen canvas at the craft store, which I thought was really, really cool. So it's just stretched over a wood frame, and so basically what you're going to be doing is taking off the fabric. But what I want to start first with is cutting our HTV. So I've got my Cameo 4 in here and my Caesar Easy Weed heat transfer vinyl on my mat here, and I am just going to load that into the machine. I've got the auto blade already loaded, and then I am going to go into my Select Studio and press send. So that should start cutting. Now you can cut Caesar Easy Weed with your Cricut, with your Brother Scan and Cut. So I am just going to push that over to the side. There we go. While we take a look at the canvas here. So what you need to do is actually separate the fabric from the frame on the back here. So it's been attached with all these staples, and instead of taking out all these staples individually, I use a craft knife and a steel edge ruler to just cut the fabric off. This is going to be the back of the frame, so it doesn't matter if you mark up or cut into the frame here. Now if you wanted to, you could of course take all these staples out, but remember this is going to be the back, so no one's going to see it. But basically what you want to do is cut it on all four sides. I've already done these three. If you need to get your scissors out, you can do that too. And you want to cut the fabric off of the frame. There we go. Okay. Oops. And then I've got this corner here too. Now these canvases come in all different sizes. So if you have been eyeballing the Cameo 15-inch, or if you're waiting for the Pro to come out, which is going to be even bigger, then you can make some pretty impressive large signs for your home. Wouldn't that be just really, really cool? So I do have the Cameo linked on our website. And then if you're waiting for the Cameo Pro, then there is a link to sign up for email notifications so that you can be notified once they are released for pre-order, which is expected early November. All right, so when you flip it over here, you've got the frame. Now, you just kind of never know what you're going to get with these frames. Sometimes they'll have these staples in the sides of them here. That doesn't bother me. I'm using kind of like a rustic farmhouse type of design. So this is actually fine. But what I do then with this piece is that I will paint it with chalk paint. So here I did a 12 by 12 frame. You see how this one didn't have the staples in it. So sometimes you just might be surprised, but I just painted it. And this one I painted the back, but you know, this is going to be the back, so no one's going to see it. So you can use, you know, whatever favorite paint you want. And then if there's any of this overhanging fabric, you would want to trim that down too. You don't want it to be visible from the front. So I'm just going to do that with my scissors. So this was actually my very first HTV project. When I first got my heat press, I have the StarCraft 15 by 15 inch mint teal press, which I absolutely love. And I have it on next to me here, ready to go when we're gonna press the fabric. So it's a little warm here. All right, so I'm just gonna cut all this off. And I was surprised with how easy this project was when I did it for the first time. It actually came out so great that my sister wanted it, and I gave it to her for her home, and she hung it up. So if you're thinking of holiday gifts, you can certainly bust out quite a few of these in an afternoon and wrap them up as gifts. They'd make perfect housewarming gifts too. Okay, so there we go with that. So normally what I would do is I would paint this now, but obviously, you know, we don't have the time to let the paint dry and all. So you would just want to come back to this frame once it is painted. Here is what the canvas looks like after we've taken it off the frame. Now, one thing that you want to be aware of is that when you buy the canvas, the measurements are going to be the measurement from here to here. So this is an 8 by 8 canvas. But when you take off the frame, and then what you would do is you would reverse it and you would put the fabric on the back, what you're now left with for your design is considerably smaller. So it measures about 7 1/4 on the inside here. So you just want to take that in mind. So if you did want your working space if you wanted your design to be 8 by 8, you would want to purchase the 12 by 12 stretched canvas. I hope that makes sense. Okay, so I'm just going to set that off to the side because the Cameo is now done cutting. And what I always do is I do a little test weed. So I will take out a little piece, or try to, before I've even unloaded the material from the machine. So I know that it's going to weed easily, and it did. So I can go ahead and unload this, and I'm going to weed the rest of it. And weeding is just the process of taking out the extra HTV. So my process here is I weed the inner parts first, I weed those out. So like the middle of the B, the middle of this and sign. Is it called an ampersand? And then the middles of the R's. And I am just using a sewing needle. There are many different tools that you can use. Some of them look like these like little hooks. This one's by Silhouette, which is a good one too, but you can use what you have on hand. And then what you do is pull away the excess material. And so here is why I do that test cut, because I know this process is going to be easy because I have already tested it before I even took it out of the machine. So if it didn't weed as easily as I wanted it to, I could just send it to cut again and it would cut exactly on the same lines as before. If I tried to load this back into my machine, there's no way that I would be able to put it back the same way into the machine so that it would cut exactly on these lines. So that's why I always test weed. And what I like so much about Easy Weed is it is just that. Very easy to peel off. In fact, I have my heat press on here. Another thing that you can do is you can actually take this HTV and put it on the lower platen of your heat press and weed it there, and that warmth from the press will help to make the HTV a little more pliable, and it weeds like a dream. But this is actually going very easily. I have my heat press on right here, so I can definitely feel that it is warm over here. And yes, this is coming off very, very nicely. Okay, so you can see that I've cut it backwards, and that's purposeful because when we take off this carrier sheet here, we're actually going to cut it this way and then flip it over, and then we're going to put it on our fabric like this. So it's the right way. All right, so now we need to press it. I'm going to put away this needle. I have a little magnet there that I keep it. And then that excess, I just throw away because it's not really enough for me to use. All right, so I'm going to adjust the camera here so that you can see my press. So give me just a second. Go ahead and flip it this way and then flip this up. There it is. That is the StarCraft 15 by 15 inch. Let's see if I can get it any better. That might be the best I can do. Oh wait, no. There we go. Perfect. And I've got a little bit of stuff on my desk. It's a little piece there. No, I normally would not have the heat press aligned like this on my desk. It usually comes out this way because you want to have as much access to it as possible. So the way it's oriented now, I can't really reach that piece of scrap paper without reaching around it, which is just not very safe. So you know what? It's not hurting anybody. It's just a piece of scrap paper. Let's see if I can get there we go. Yeah, just working on some scrapbooking. There we go. Okay, so then I have the heat press set at 305. So you can see that you've got the display here. And then I've already set it to Caesar Easy Weed. Recommended amount of pressing time is, I think, like 10 to 15 seconds. They have an app that you can look up all their pressing times. So what I'm actually going to do is place the fabric onto the press first. And I have already checked the tension on my machine too, or on the press, so that I know that there's not too much pressure, there's not too loose, and you can just do that by closing it and opening it. and there's a knob. Sorry, you're gonna see some mess here on my desk. There's a knob back here that you would spin to adjust the tension to make this easier or more pressure, and that is probably good. So what I'm going to do is what's called like a pre-press, and that's just a quick 2-second press, and that is going to release any excess moisture that might be in the garment or the fabric, so that the HTV is going to stick the best that it can. So I'm just gonna count 1, 2, and then pull it up. But you do have a counter. I know it's a little bit hard to see, but there is a counter here that will count down, that you can set to, you know, whatever amount of seconds you need. All right, so we've got this nice and pressed, and then I am going to put on our Easy Weed and arrange it, you know, it's somewhat in the middle here. I think the biggest thing to just be aware of is that there is a directionality to the fabric. You've got the, you know, the cross hatching. So I want to try to align it so that the text is pretty much in line and lined up with the fibers of the fabric. And then another thing that you can do to make sure that you still have enough fabric around the edge is that you could just very quickly put that in there and say, okay, yeah, I have enough fabric on the edge to adhere that when the time comes. But we're going to go ahead and press it first. And you can, there isn't any exposed HTV, and this is it's a linen, so it's very a hardy fabric, so you don't necessarily need a cover sheet for this, like a Teflon cover sheet or a piece of parchment paper, but it's always a good idea to get in that habit just so that you can protect your fabric. And of course you wouldn't ever want any exposed HTV. If I had already pressed something here that wasn't covered by a cover sheet, then you would not want the hot platen to touch that. It would just melt it and you'd be sad. So I just put a piece of parchment paper over the top. I just got this at the grocery store. But you can purchase Teflon sheets too, which are designed for that purpose. And I'm just going to go ahead and close my press. And I've got the counter going down here, and it's counting down 15 seconds. It'll beep, and it'll be nice and hot. And the thing with Caesar Easy Weave is I like to peel off the carrier sheet when it's warm, but I think you can let it cool down if you want, but it's just not necessary. So give me just a second. I'm going to move this back here, back onto my workspace, and then you would just peel off that carrier sheet. Actually, you know what? I think you do want to peel it warm. Yeah. Anyway, but look at that. Isn't that cute? I love that tall and skinny font. I think it's beautiful. Very popular and trendy, especially for like a farmhouse look. But anyway, I've got that now pressed here, and then the next step is to attach the frame to it. Now, I would not normally attach it to a bare frame. I would paint it, but we just don't have that time right now. So I am just going to let you use your imaginations, but what you can do is either put a line of hot glue and attach it that way. I have seen people, you know, trim this excess and then, you know, staple it with a staple gun. My favorite way and I really love this, is using double-sided adhesive. This is called score tape. It's a very strong double-sided adhesive, and what I do is I apply it directly to the back of the frame. And another thing I like about it is that you can rip it with your hands, so you don't even have to get out a pair of scissors. It comes in different widths too. So this is a 1/2 inch. You can also get a 1/4 inch. I think you can get as skinny as like 1/8 of an inch, wider as well. But I'm just going to put that around all 4 edges of my frame here, right on the back. And then one thing that just makes it easier for me to work with this is to, well, you know what, actually, no, I am going to trim it. So this step is optional. It's just easier for me to work with. So I put the frame back on and I just kind of loosely trace the frame on the outside here. Ooh, lovely sound. That way I can trim off the excess with a paper trimmer. Oops, just like that. Then I'm working with nice straight lines too, which is something that I like. You can't really see that where that line is. I think it's there. But I'll go slightly outside of it just so I have enough there, and we'll cut it there as well. Okay, so that is an easier chunk for me to work with. All right, so then basically what you would do now is take one of the backings off. So there's this tape backing that you'd peel off, and then there's a piece of glitter on this fabric. There we go. All right, which is my fault. Must have been using glitter at one time of the year. Okay, so then I can just align this the way I like, the way it's, you know, looks straight and nice, and then I can go ahead and press that down there. And lift it up and press it down. Now because this is a fabric, there's going to be a little bit of a stretch to it. So what that means is I can fold this up, take off the backing for these here, and then I can stretch the fabric to get a nice taut, stretched canvas here. So it's not too, just kind of looks nice when the fabric is nice and pulled tight. So just pull this down here. The thing with the hot glue is that it would set really, really quickly, which is what concerned me. With this tape, you have a little bit of leeway. You have a little bit of give. So you can really press that down and make it nice and taut. Okay, so then I'm just gonna, I pulled off the bottom, and I'm gonna pull that down here too. There we go. Okay, and so then the last thing that I would do is trim off the excess here, and you could do that with your craft knife. I'm just gonna do it with my scissors here. I need to trim off that little piece too. So just do that. because this is also the back of the fabric, or the back of the frame too, if for some reason you completely messed up, which happens and has happened to me, that other frame here, I was successfully able to take the canvas back off, and then I could probably clean this up a little bit and then put more tape down. So it's strong enough to stay down, but you do have maybe an easier time pulling it back up if maybe you needed to just readjust something really quickly. That should be fine. Anyway, but then there you'd have your beautiful frame. Imagine this painted, maybe like I'm always partial to dark gray. Here's a canvas I did earlier, and yeah, it's the same fabric. Of course, the design is a little bit more involved with the different layers of the HTV, but it's the same type of process. And see, I didn't paint the back there. What I have also done is, if you were selling these to customers and you wanted to completely finish the back, you can take a piece of cardstock, like this is a 12 by 12, and you could adhere that to the back here, and that would just make the back look nice and finished. Or if you have those big rolls of craft paper, it looks like wrapping paper, but it's that thick paper bag type of material, you could adhere that to the back as well, so it gives it a nice finished look on the back. And then because these are so light, I have just found that the best way to adhere them to a wall is with those command strips that are removable. So that has worked really well for me. So that is our beautiful reverse canvas project that we made in, let's see, 27 minutes. I mean, minus the painting, of course. So definitely you could whip out a few of these, especially it would be very, very quick with your heat press to press a bunch all at one time, and you can make some really beautiful Christmas presents, or holidays, or home, just because. Or I'm trying to move this back here. There we go. All right. Well, thank you so much for watching. And of course, I hope you have a great rest of your day. And of course, if you make any projects of your own, then we'd love to see what you have created. You can always post them in our Facebook group. Swing Design is our Facebook group. So thank you so much, and have a great day.